I want to introduce you to two people. Person A works a 9 to 5. When they finish work, they might go to a bar, to a pub, hang out with friends. They go home, watch some TV, wind down, go to bed, day well spent. Person B, they work in investment banking and M&A or something with similarly long hours. For them, it's very rare that they will go home before midnight. At that time, everything's closed. So when they finish work, they go home, wind down, go to bed. Day well spent. Sometimes you have to be deprived of something to really appreciate its importance. Investment banking taught me an invaluable lesson and one that is key to live a life of contentment. This lesson was the beauty of the simple things, of the little things in life, the beauty of simplicity. In economic terms, we can think about this as like a baseline utility, a baseline happiness. Working a job with abnormally long hours will bring down your baseline utility. You will be able to operate and function on a baseline level that is less. And what do I mean by less? You'll be able to operate with less time with family and friends, less time for physical activity, recreational stuff, hobbies, time with your own thoughts, time with peace of mind. And the weird thing is, you'll be able to go weeks and sometimes months on this low baseline because you adjust to it. Like you stop seeing it as a strange thing, you stop seeing it as painful, as tough, as sad, and it just becomes life. Like it's very possible to be happy while living in such long hours and having less of the things that I mentioned. And honestly, I know what you might be thinking. At face value, this might sound sad. It might sound like a terrible existence, but it's actually quite wonderful. And that's what I want to explain in this video. And for you to be able to see this, you need to picture yourself as somebody who works, 70 to 90 hours a week. And then picture this happening. So it's a random Wednesday, it's 7 p.m. You last sent your associates something at like 4 p.m. and they haven't said anything yet. Then they message you to say, look, I'm not going to come back to you on anything tonight. You're not going to see anything from me. You pause. You realize what that means because you've not got work from anyone else. You realize that you're free. You're like, okay, what do I do? I can go to the gym. I can go home. You decide to go to the gym. You're like, look, I've not worked out in weeks now. Let's go to the gym. On the way to the gym, you check your emails. Still nothing. You're like, okay, I might make it to the gym. You make it to the gym. You're, treadmills, weights, whatever. You're doing the workouts. You're checking stuff. Still nothing's come through. You're like, okay, so far so good. You finish your workout. You come out the gym. The crisp air's on your face. You got the endorphins flowing. Quick check of the phone, nothing. You're like, oh my gosh, I might actually be free. So then you begin to walk home. The other passerbys on the street, they can't relate to this bliss that you're feeling because to them, this is a normal weekday. Going to the gym is not a weird thing. It's not not out of the ordinary. It's not especially amazing. But to you, this has already been the highlight of the past few weeks. A thought passes your mind, okay, maybe I should invite some people over. I might actually be free tonight. But you think, okay, let me not get ahead of myself. You've been here before. Sometimes you think you're free and then ping, an email comes through and your night is ruined. So, you just decide to go home. You pour yourself a can of Coke or your favorite drink. You put your feet up, put on some TV. You're watching some EastEnders. For other people, 7:30 p.m. EastEnders is so mundane that it's almost a chore. But to you, you've not been able to watch TV for months because you need sleep. So hopefully from that story, you're able to see where I'm going with this. But to share a personal story, I remember literally once almost shedding, I think I did shed a tear, but just being so emotionally like happy because I had poured myself some cranberry juice in a glass with a straw, sat in my flat. And yeah, there was no TV, nothing, but I was able to have that, one of my favorite drinks or whatever, without any emails. And I knew I wasn't working that Saturday. And it just felt amazing because I think for a few weeks prior or even a couple months prior, had been extremely busy and just emotionally a lot. And so to be able to do that, it just felt amazing. So that's what I mean. That is the invaluable lesson that investment banking taught me. And the lesson is twofold. Number one was that I learned the value of the little things. Like for me now, anytime I get to spend with friends and just do stuff is just so, so valuable. Like I remember any times I'd have leave days and I'd go to weddings or celebrations, I would just be so happy. And I would just, make a big deal of it and just really try to, extend the happiness of the moment. But yeah, it's because I'd been deprived of it. And out of that deprivation, I had learned to cherish. The second thing that I learned is that when you have a lot of cool things, you need even cooler things to really feel happy about it. Sometimes you need to either do full deprivation or you need to just sort of reduce the exposure so that you can actually really enjoy something. And I think it really relates to what Andrew Huberman talks about dopamine regulation. It might sound crazy, but perhaps seeing your friends every day has gotten boring because you do it every day. Or perhaps, there's nothing good on the television because you watch TV every day. Or because, as soon as something new comes out, you watch it instantly. Like, look, I'm not saying let's not do anything fun or interesting, because obviously we're going to TIE one day, but it's just food for thought. Like, I mean, the utility that somebody could potentially get from one uninterrupted workout that they haven't had in 3 weeks might be the same utility that someone gets from a little holiday. Like, it sounds crazy, but perhaps living a life on a high baseline or even an average baseline can be a bit of a burden, because then you need something amazing to happen to, get a meaningful spike, if that makes sense. And perhaps living a life that is below average or, below a typical baseline might be a blessing in disguise, might be an opportunity, because now going to the gym, seeing your phone and no emails might literally change your it might literally make your month. And maybe, living a life that has a below average baseline might be a very cool opportunity, because now you have the potential to live a very simple life. The simple things, like, like the gym I mentioned, like going out with friends, whatever, things that seem simple in our day and age might literally have the scope to make your week, to make your month, right? Okay, now, as I come to an end, I want to just put an obvious caveat. I know somebody might be thinking, this is a twisted case of, corporate, what's the word? Stockholm syndrome. Like, you've been suffering for so long that you now see it as normal and see it as even a good thing. Like, I get that. And honestly, you might be right, but I think it might miss the point a little bit. My point is that, doing the long hours, and I get it, it has its cons. Doing those long hours, yes, it's bad, but I'm saying that within that suffering, you might be learning a very important lesson. And I wanted to share this because I think the majority of working professionals are not deprived of, their social lives to the same extent. I know obviously people in 9 to 5 still definitely want more time to themselves, and of course, but it's not to the same extent. So yeah, this video is to do two things. Number one, to encourage people to cherish what they might be taking for granted. And number two, to give them an actual tool on how to do this. And this tool does not mean you have to, work long hours or get a job that works long hours or do 2 jobs. No. But, it's food for thought. It's just, how can you maybe do things a little bit less, cut back a little bit more, so that you can start to enjoy things again. In summary, I'm very net positive on investment banking, on M&A. This was not a negative video at all. I think it's amazing for, hardworking young professionals, but it's not for everyone by any stretch of the imagination. But I think people who do come out of investment banking, they tend to have lots of benefits that they can look back on. And this is just one of them that I don't think gets spoken about enough at all. But I think it's actually one of those benefits that, it's not just money, it's not just stepping stone to opportunities, but it's something that actually could affect the way that you see life and your actual contentment and your happiness. So I'm grateful to investment banking for lots of things, which I will make future videos about. But I think one of the top reasons is that it made the bare minimum fill me with so much joy. I think it's a very lucky person that can be made to feel ecstatic, over the moon, walking on sunshine when they look at their phone at 9 p.m. on a Thursday and they don't see an urgent email. Like, I am grateful to investment banking because I never thought that I'd be grinning from ear to ear after drinking a cold glass of cranberry juice. So some closing thoughts from this lovely, cool, so there's this like Airbnb that sits on top of this cool cave that I'm in. So some last thoughts before I end this video. So how can you extract more value from your day-to-day privileges? Can you smile a little bit more when you come out of the corner shop with your favorite snack? Why? Because you were able to go to the corner shop before it closed because you weren't working. Or, how can you smile a little bit more at the receptionist at the gym? Because you get to move your body. Can you hug your friends just a little bit tighter when you see them Wednesday, 7 p.m.? Why? Because you love them and time with them is precious. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next one.